You fucking savages. Welcome to the Greg Medford Show. Greg here with you from Phoenix, Arizona. Man, it's been an interesting week. I traveled for a show. I launched a t-shirt. It was a bit edgy, and people lost their fucking minds. People have stopped thinking critically. They're afraid of everything. And the government's got us all pointing at each other, calling each other racists and bigots, while they've torn down our borders, flooded our country with drugs, locked us up, forced unreasonable vaccines that weren't properly vetted. And while doing all of that, at the end, it turns out we're all starting to shoot each other, and they think we have a gun problem. They don't think we have a mental health care crisis. They don't think we have problems in our culture. Defund the police for 2 years, lock people up, throw millions of doses of fentanyl in from our sworn enemy, China, through our broken border, Mexico, and what do you get? Children who haven't been social, they've been isolated, they've been alone, using drugs. Law enforcement crippled by funding, lack of resources and manpower to get things done, a border you can't control, and a press that won't report it because they're colluding in the demise of the great republic. I don't know what else to say, folks. That's it. Which is why I do the podcast. Which is why I talk to so many politicians. Which is why I'm so outspoken. So I did this shirt and everybody lost their mind and wanted to cancel me. Didn't even think about it. Didn't even know what the shirt was. But there were Chinese people in the shirt and they lost their shit. So I guess the message of today is think. Shush a little bit and think. Don't get so reactive to everything. Just calm down and think. And we'd all be better off. So in our ongoing effort to broaden our horizons and interests of the show, we have a guest in today who is a little outside of my normal wheelhouse. Rachel, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you.
How fun is that?
That's nice.
I'm not sure if I can say your last name. Do you care?
That's fine.
All right, it's Rachel Lassman, and she's from California. She's got an enterprise called Coins for Cops, and it's a non-profit where you're doing good work. So let's hear about it.
Yeah, I like that you used the word enterprise. It's a small production. I started it exactly a year ago. And it was started because I saw how the media was treating police officers. And then obviously the defund the police like you were talking about. And that was a huge problem. I actually just wrote a paper yesterday on that topic as well as the gun issues that are happening right now, which I'll send to you because it hits on all the things that you talked about, which is great.
It's crazy because we know what's going on in our country right now, and they're talking about gun control. We know what's going on. There's not a mystery here.
No, absolutely. And we all know that their goal is to take the guns away from us, and they'll do it by any means necessary. And so, like you were saying with the mental health, nobody's discussing that. It always goes to the guns. It always goes to, bad guns are evil. And that couldn't be farther from the truth. And like I said, the amount of statistics I found yesterday.
So what's the article you were writing?
I was writing it to send to senators. I do tons of research. That's what I've always done. And then consolidate it into something short so that people can read it. And so I sent it to a lot of the senators because I know they're in discussions right now about what they're doing. And, they're talking about I don't think people realize how bad even some of the things they're discussing are. Because they discuss, I think the big ones right now are moving up the age limit. So when people are like, oh, it's not that big of a deal, it's just changing the age a little bit. Well, it does. It is a big deal because, every change that they make allows the next change to be on the table, right? So you give an inch, take another inch, take another inch. And
it's worse than that because it makes them think they're doing something. But it still doesn't address the mental health care crisis.
And they never will, nor does it address the fact that these schools openly display that they're gun-free zones, leaving all these people as targets. And that was a huge part of the paper I just wrote. and there's a author named John Locke. He's also a president of which company is it? Anyway, he found that 98% of these mass shootings are happening at gun-free zones. In fact, the three of the most, notorious mass shooters all went to gun-free zones. And so it's very interesting with that. The red flag laws are awful. They open the door for so much abuse. And
this is the thing. People say, well, it's, we got to do something. And I say, well, okay, I agree. We have to do something. And we have a problem with mass shootings. Absolutely we do. No question about it. But I don't feel like we have a gun problem. I feel like we have a mental health problem.
For sure.
I feel like we have a failure to have a real discussion problem. And I feel like these problems are really solvable. But I was telling a woman the other day, I was having a discussion with her, and she said, well, it's ridiculous that an 18-year-old should be able to buy a firearm. I said, well, 18-year-olds allowed to go off to war. Mm-hmm. They can't buy a firearm, but they're okay to go to war. Now, the military is pretty clear that an 18-year-old's not good with a firearm either. Which is why they have so many rules and it's so structured and it's so strict. They're concerned about it also.
Yeah.
But the reality is, when they change it to 21, which I think they're going to, then what? Mm-hmm. If they don't take care of the problem, we're still going to have shootings.
Yeah.
So then they're going to say 25?
That's
is
my
it
point.
40?
Yeah.
Like, where do you...
Exactly.
When is it the right time to limit specified liberties and not have legitimate conversations about the cause?
Yeah, and that's the thing. You're exactly right. These are all very dangerous band-aids that, like you said, don't address the problem at all. You haven't stopped the bleeding, if you will. And that needs to be addressed. So, I mean, there's a myriad of things they could do, bringing in security experts that know how to properly. I mean, there were so many. I don't want to get into the discussion of what just happened in the Texas shooting, but
because we don't know totally yet, but it looks like there was leadership paralysis. It looks like they didn't do what everyone's trained to do.
Not to mention even the teachers themselves. I mean, we could even get into a discussion on what the teachers failed to do as well, with no locked doors or doors open, or we don't know, or why there was no. I never heard about an intercom system where somebody said, hey, everybody lock your doors now, anything. So I don't know. I mean, we don't know if that happened or not. But at the same time, like, there were so many things that went wrong. We could learn from it so that it could help people in the future in terms of doing the right safety protocols, maybe having only a one-door system.
Here's the worst part. We already know the safety protocols.
Yeah.
We learned them at Columbine.
Yeah.
It's been policy for 20 years. In light of anything else, go in and start shooting.
Yeah.
Go in and make the bad guys lose focus.
Yeah.
That's the job. And they clearly didn't do that. Let's get off that, because I feel like I get suckered into this discussion, and it now begins to rationalize stuff we've already done and not solving the problem.
Can I make one thing? I am not blaming the teachers at all. I don't know if that came out like
No,
I
it
said
didn't.
that.
It didn't come that way.
Okay, I just want to say there was a lot of things that went wrong. So I apologize if that's how it came out.
It didn't come off that way.
Okay.
No, it did. But my point to you is, we already know what teachers in schools should be doing, and we've already decided nationally at the law enforcement level. They've known this for years now, and it still didn't happen.
Yeah, I know.
All of these policies and these rules. What stops mass shootings is stop the mental compression of Americans. Deal with the mental health care crisis. We are out there trying to put fingers in the dike, and there's a flood going on that we're not addressing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's why I'm reticent to have the conversation about what went on at this school or that school or this agency or that agency. That's whack-a-mole.
Yeah,
they want us to play whack-a-mole so they can pat themselves on the back for upping the age, limiting our rights again. Because the next it'll be 26, then it'll be 40, and then it'll be gone.
Yes.
Why do we know that? Look at Australia. Look at Canada.
Yeah.
Look at England. These are our sister countries.
No, you're absolutely right. Absolutely.
Their goal is to take away anything that stops their ability to rule us. And the rights are there and shall not be infringed, because the founding fathers knew this. Because power corrupts.
And it is absolutely. And it is happening right now. It's scary. Yeah.
So for me, the good fight is about my citizens, not about guns. And how do I make my citizens more healthy?
Yeah.
And that's the discussion I like to have when I jump into these. I'm like, all right, and the crazy part is the National Institute of Health, they know what's going on. They've got the data. No one's operating on that because it's not divisive. You can't get Democrats or Republicans. You get both Democrats
yeah.
and Republicans.
Yeah.
So it's not a win for you.
Yeah, it's sad that everything's been so political. It is really sad because the only people who suffer from this are all of us. And that's the thing. And that's what people don't, I think, are starting to come around and realize it. But at the beginning of this whole thing, they didn't realize that if they divide us, then we stop looking at them. We only point fingers at each other. And when the real problem is what they're doing to our country right now. And like you said, with the border and everything and the defunding of the police, I don't think many people know this, but it was so bad. And this is kind of why I started Coins for Cops, is 40% mass exodus of early retirement from police. And I think 24% just left the profession.
That's astounding. And people don't realize in these types of crafts, law enforcement is a craft.
Yeah.
It is one that requires seniors, salty leadership, and new people that you bring along through good example. When you route what is by the numbers an amazingly professional, successful, and trustworthy group of people of their senior cadre, what happens is a collapse.
Yeah.
And we're experiencing it now. Cops in Texas afraid to go into a school shooting. Why? Well, for 2 years they've been beat up. Probably their leaders, I don't know the department. I wouldn't be surprised if many of their senior guys said, I don't want this job anymore, and left. Because you without leaders that are experienced, what do you get? Inaction.
Inaction and not knowing the protocols properly enough to do them. And then on top of that, I mean, there's such low recruitment coming in too. So there's not a lot of new people. So like I talk to, so a lot of the police departments that I go to, I end up talking to the head staff, the head chiefs, whatever. And they, and I always ask them, how's your recruitment? And it used to be, one of them told me, we used to get 70 a month. We had to turn people away because we can only take, 50 or whatever. And now they say we get 7.
Right.
And of those, 1 is viable, so it's really hard. And people need to be concerned about this because our crime rates around the country are going up. And a lot of it has to do with not only policies in these major cities, which is a whole nother topic, but there's just not enough police.
Right.
I mean, in San Francisco, they have, I think around 2,000 officers right now. And I think they're down. They should be around 3,200. I mean, that's a heck of a lot of police that are not on, and we know what's happening there. And I say San Francisco because I live in that area right now.
And you guys just got tossed your bum DA out of office yesterday, right?
Gascon's out and Boudin is out as well.
Wait a minute, Gascon is out also?
I believe so.
No, Gascon.
They're trying to. Sorry, they're trying to recall him. I think. Oh, you're right. Boudin's out.
Yeah.
San Francisco. No, you're right. Gascon though, they're trying to recall him right now, and I think they have over 500,000 signatures right now, which is good. I mean, the one that's been on the news lately is that lady who got hit by the
underage kid who had been let out
with her
early.
baby, and then just got 5 months, I think, probation or something, which is horrible.
And then he said he didn't know the details of the case.
Well, then he lied and said
First
that the
he
sheriff
lied.
said
he lied. Law enforcement's behind me, and they're like, no, we're not.
Yeah. The sheriff down in LA who just did very well in the primaries, which is good because he's a fantastic sheriff. He came out and was like, no, you didn't. So he had Gascon had to walk it back. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. So you started doing the coins thing. Tell me kind of the mechanics of how this works. You're doing like challenge coins for police departments?
Yeah. So when this whole thing started, I just wanted to be able to do something to boost morale in any way I could. I mean, it started with like just waving at police, smiling at them, giving them, a handshake, saying thank you. And I was like, I got to do so much more. It just feels, I just saw, the demeanor of the police go down during that time, especially during the
morale.
And everything. So, I started thinking about it. What could I do? And it actually started, I was going to do like Starbucks gift cards, excuse me. And I was like, no, I don't like, that seems impersonal. And like, I don't really like Starbucks personally. So I was like, nah, that doesn't seem right. So I used to be a firefighter back in 2010-ish. And I was like, oh, what about challenge coins? So
You were a firefighter?
yeah, for 2 years. Yeah.
Where'd you do that at?
In Washington State.
What department were you on? Can you say?
East County Fire Rescue.
Cool. What'd you do?
I was a volunteer firefighter, but I was in the same program as everybody. So I went through academy and I did all the testing, and we had to test all the time. I'm so sorry. And
Bobby, it's not just me.
maybe there's something in the room.
And I got, it'll help.
I like the root beer candies. Looks like
Some kind of hard candy.
okay, so
So you did the fire department thing.
oh yeah, I did the fire department thing. So we worked with police then, and I knew we had the challenge coins then. That's kind of what gave me the idea for it. So I started calling around to different challenge coin companies because I didn't know how much it was going to cost, and I wanted to keep the cost low enough that I could get.
Do you have any with you?
Huh?
Do you have any with you?
I do actually. It's in my purse though.
Is it down there? Yeah, go ahead, grab it.
Do we still get? Okay.
Did you just say oi?
Yeah. Did you like that?
Mazel mazel. Yeah. She said oi to get her purse.
Wait. Yeah. I brought one. Yeah. Here it is.
Cool. Let me see it.
So I found a company. I found a company who made them. I wanted American made. That was my original goal.
You can't get them.
It's very hard, and they're also extremely expensive. There was no way I was going to be able to.
This is not made in the USA.
No, I know. I know that.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
I know. It's one thing that I'm sad about because, like, I really am very obviously pro supporting all American companies. Unfortunately, when you're doing kind of a nonprofit thing and you're trying to get as many officers as possible,
I get it.
cost becomes a thing.
Cost is the thing for everybody. That's the
know,
thing.
and
it is the thing.
And it is hard, and it would have been about quadruple the price.
Well, the bad part is I've done a deep dive in challenge coins.
Okay.
Okay. And there is no one who will make this coin in the United States.
Oh.
There's one coin company. They will strike a coin. They won't do any of this enamel or cloisonne work or any of the polish.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
You can't get this coin made in the U.S.
I see what you're saying.
Which is bizarre to me.
Yeah.
But, that technology's all left the United States. It's a labor-intensive. That product has got 4 cents of material in it, and it's got $8 worth of labor in it.
Yeah, no, this company did do a good job, and it's a nice quality in terms of weight and everything, and people have really liked it. So I found this company, and so I did the initial design, and I did it that night and sent it out. So it was very quick. Once I decided I was going to do the challenge coin piece of it, it just went very quickly. And then as soon as I got them in, I just started going to departments. And that was kind of funny too, because when I first started calling departments, they had no idea. Everybody thought I was a solicitor trying to get money from them. And I kept saying, no, this is a thank you. This is an appreciation award. You can't really say.
So you just give them out to the cops?
Yeah. So I call the departments and I say who I am. I lead them to my website, so they know I'm not full of it. And I say, no, I really am just here to thank the police. There's no cost to any officer. And I have a handwritten thank you card. So it's a little package, and then I go deliver it to the police. I just, and we
what
take
do?
pictures.
They call them all together, line up, you shake their hands and hand them the coin?
Yeah, basically tell them who I am, why I'm there. And then, and it's not all of them. It's whoever's available, because as you well know, on a police station, not everybody's all available.
And then who pays for it?
I do out of pocket or through donations, and I've had So
how do people donate to your cause?
They can go to coins for FOR cops with an S.net. So coins with an S FOR cops.net. Yeah.
Coins plural for cops plural.net.
Yep, and FOR, not a 4.
Yeah, not the number 4.
Not the number 4.
And how many cops have you handed these out to?
So about just under 3,300 right now. My website needs to be updated. But it's about 3,300 now. And then I have 400 waiting, for when I get home. So yeah, it'll go up again. So
you're just citizen girl at large, petting, giving them an attaboy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, a lot of people, I mean, it's amazing that the citizens have been so receptive as well. I couldn't do this without, donations or people helping me write the thank you cards. I mean, to write 3,300 cards is a lot of work. So I've had a lot of help, a lot of volunteers, and I thank them immensely.
You have a career along the way too. What do you do? What do you do for a living?
I do. I'm a manager and a bartender.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. I mean, we had a bartender recently become a congressman who basically kicked the country in the balls. So I mean,
I'm not like that.
We can't underestimate the grit of our bartenders. If you're a bartender up in San Francisco.
No, I don't live in I would never live in San Francisco. I live in the middle somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, in the middle. All right.
Yeah.
You want everybody to know. That's fine.
I don't need people coming.
And have any of the cops proposed to you yet?
Oh, all of them actually.
They all.
I'm just joking. No, they are very thankful though. But no, it is funny though. I'll run into them on the street. Some of them, just walking into Safeway or whatever, and
when you're getting arrested, when you're out,
you're
out thugging.
Yeah, I really look like a thug, huh? Yeah. So, and they'll be like, "Oh, you're the coins for cop squirrel," and then they'll pull it out of their pocket and they'll be like, "I carry mine with me all the time," and so they are really appreciative. I've gotten one department sent me 2 full cards where everybody in the department signed their signature on it. Took 2 full cards to do it on front and back.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I started this thing too where I get a challenge coin from every department now. It kind of started just randomly. I didn't know it was going to happen. And then I was like, oh, this is kind of a cool thing. So now I have all these challenge coins of my own from all these departments. Sure.
So what are you going to do with this? What's the big picture? Because, a lot of times these things start whimsically.
Yeah.
And then they either peter out or turn into something.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely correct on that. And it is hard. Full disclosure, I don't have a 501c3 yet. I didn't go with that option right now. I keep meticulous reports, though. Every penny goes to the cops. I don't make a single dime on this project. Oftentimes, I am out of pocket, which is fine. I never went into this wanting to make money. But, it would be nice if this could grow. I would love to be able to thank every officer in the nation. The problems that I will foresee is how we're going to do the cards mostly. Because that's, there's, I think right now, about 700,000 officers. I don't know. The number's always changing right now, but in the nation, that's a lot of cards.
It's a lot of cards.
So that would be the only hindrance I see of doing it. And I have come up with some other options of how to not have to write all of them. I liked the aspect of the handwritten, but if it does go bigger,
of course, you have to come up with something.
Yeah, I would have to come up with
something. The trick is, how do you find something that's got a personal touch, but's producible and scalable?
Yeah.
Right? That's the same with all production and manufacturing.
Yeah.
It's always about, especially anything that's got some soul to it, is how can I put the secret sauce into something that's got scale?
Yeah.
Because a famous knife maker said years ago, making one knife is no problem. Making 10 is challenging, and making 1,000 is damn near fucking impossible, is about what he said with his South African accent. So you've been doing this for about a year, you said?
Yeah, started nearly exactly a year ago, actually, to the day.
Are you down here in Arizona talking to any departments, or you kind of keep it local where you're at?
No. I have coins in multitudes of states. I actually have coins here too. So surprise. Police department, they were delivered to, they have about 245 officers at the time. Again, numbers are always changing. So I know Phoenix is not allowed to accept coins. So I will
of course.
So I won't be able to get the Phoenix Police Department. But we are, I believe, trying to get funds right now for Scottsdale Police Department. I would love to get Glendale as well. I actually ran into some of those officers, and they were very, very nice.
So why can't Phoenix take coins? Are they considering a graft?
There was a provision or something put into place where they're not allowed to accept any gifts, and they consider this a gift, and so they're just not allowed. In fact, there was a...
How about an award? Are they allowed to get an award with a
That's why I said it the other
zero stated value?
Yeah, that's why I said that the other couple minutes ago. I called it an award because, there are some departments that absolutely will not take gifts. I think that one is so shut off right now, unless you know somebody. I probably can't, because I have asked quite a few people about kind of going through the loophole, if you will, and it's not working. But we're trying to get Scottsdale right now, and I need to raise, I believe, around $3,500 to adopt that department, because they have a pretty sizable amount. I think they have around 700 officers in Scottsdale. So that's my next project for Arizona. But I have coins in, I think, 9 different states right now, as well as Japan. Japan's got 5 of my coins right now.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that was really neat. I got somebody contacted me on my website, which is easy to do. And he wrote in, he goes, "Hey, I'm military. Been stationed in Japan. I work with the police officers here. And would you send me coins to Japan so I could give it to him?" So that was really neat. That was pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, and are you up to anything else? You said you wrote a paper. Who was the paper for? You wrote?
Oh, I'm very passionate about our Second Amendment. I'm passionate about all of our rights. I wish more people knew more about our Constitution and what it actually says and what rights it actually, gives us.
I'm stunned by how many people call themselves constitutionalists and like to quote parts of it who've never actually read it.
Yeah.
I find kind of funny.
Yeah.
So are you doing some activism?
Yeah, I don't like using that word because it's got such a bad reputation with it. I
Lobbying?
Sure. I do a lot of
Advocacy?
Yeah,
I mean, what do you do?
advocacy.
What do you
Yeah,
do?
I like that one better.
Okay.
Yeah, I do a lot of, in California, we tried to promote school choice and get it on the ballot. So I was helped out quite a lot with that movement. It didn't work this time, but we'll keep trying on it. The school choice is, I think, very important, especially now.
One of the things I'm seeing with school choice is they're changing the name of it.
Okay.
I'm seeing this dollars attached to students phrase.
Okay.
The money's mobile with the student.
Mm-hmm.
And which nuances the language a little bit, and it gets away from the partisan labeling.
Oh, that's
kind of
good.
interesting.
Yeah,
So
that is interesting.
I've had some advocates who are doing stuff at the national level here for school, what we used to call school choice.
Yeah.
But they're talking about the total economic package around a student. So you have your municipal property taxes,
Yeah.
a component of that.
Yeah.
You have some state money, and then you have your federal dollars, and that total package, maybe it's $14,000 per student in Arizona. And it's fascinating when I talk to teachers who have 32 kids in their class,
Mm-hmm.
and they have $14,000 of funding per student. I ask them to do the math, and they kind of look at me with a blank look on their face. And I go, that's the real money flowing around here.
Yeah.
How much of that are you seeing? So before you come hit me up for more taxes
Yeah.
and say that I'm against education,
Mm-hmm.
maybe some accounting.
Yeah.
It's kind of fascinating.
It is. The whole thing is really cool. And I got pretty involved in it. And so I learned a lot about what California was doing and the pieces that they had in their initiative were pretty incredible and a little bit different than some other states. And, I would love it if the leads of all these states could get together and actually have a meeting on how to improve it in each state. Because I know each state is working on their own. California's was actually pretty comprehensive. And one of the things that it did, or it was going to allow for, was that if you didn't use it, you didn't lose it. So like with a voucher program, it's kind of like you don't get to keep anything with this one. So for example, in California with the $14,000 a year to go to a school, if you chose a school that was $10,000, the $4,000 would accumulate. You would not lose the money.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and then you could use that money to go to college or trade school, whatever you preferred, and you did not have to stay in California. That was the cool part about it.
It's crazy. People kind of lose sight of this. There's so much creative, good thinking in California that is completely tramped down by the leftist hegemony in the state.
Yeah.
They've rigged the entire system there to be pro-party instead of pro-citizen, and it's quelling creativity in the most creative state that's probably ever existed. There's never been a more creative place.
Yeah.
Except maybe Texas now. Except maybe now. I mean, California's killed. It's hampered its great gift.
Yeah.
It was all this wonderful storytelling and creativity and thinking outside the box, and it was a place everybody went to get a chance to do it right. You know what I mean?
It was the dream state. It was. And now there's mass exodus. I mean, you've heard the reports. You can't even get a U-Haul right now because so many people are leaving, and it is.
Yeah, you can get hired in all of these Western states to drive empty U-Hauls back to California.
Sounds about right.
Bizarre.
And it's so sad too, because, I there's aspects of California I absolutely love, but it's getting to a point now. I'm thinking about running for school board in the area that I live in, because, I think people do need to realize that it's all local.
Yep.
We need to fix everything at the local level, and that includes your school boards or city councils. And, I that's another thing that's been very frustrating where I live is we have, we have a group of conservative people that I hang around with, and they all complain, and a lot of them don't run. And it's very hard for me. And I'm like, you guys need to run. And I get it. Everybody's got their own life. And it is a lot of work. You got to campaign, and you've got to do all this. And then you've got to put your time in to go to meetings and read the books and all of it. So I get that it's a time thing, but it's at at what cost? I mean, this is our country, and we have to take it back.
I've been saying this for quite some time now. And I see things from a male perspective clearly because of, my shoes and hairdo. But there's guys want to earn money during their income years, and if they do run for office, they want to run for these big boy offices. And if someone said to me right now, "Hey, Greg," and I've had some whispers, "Hey, Greg, we interested in having you run for this congressional seat in Arizona,"
You'd be good.
I said, fuck no. Do I want to be one of 435 nugget heads who can't get anything done? Not interested. Governor of Arizona? I'm down for that. And I'm probably down for that.
Yeah.
But I'm not down for being one of the, and so he said, what would you like to do then? Well, I either want to be governor of Arizona or I want to be the head of the schools.
Okay.
I mean, it's two things. Because one is the game now in the bully pulpit, and the other one is the long war. And the long war is the schools. That's how we win.
You're absolutely correct. And the school system right now is beyond broken. It's absolutely beyond broken.
Because we've relegated it to leftist and partisan, union-oriented teacher. It's teacher union leftist oriented. It is not student oriented. We've abandoned the mission.
Yeah, we abandoned it a long time ago. So history for you, I was also a teacher. That's actually what I went to school for. I was a biology teacher. So and this was back in the 2010 to 15 time period, and things were starting then. I started noticing things then, and in fact, that's kind of why I left. But it is true, and I started seeing the qualifications of teachers coming down. It wasn't about how good of a teacher you are anymore. It was more about what we're seeing now, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So our school system is so broken, and I know homeschooling's going up, and it's hard for a lot of parents to do the homeschool thing, but my goodness,
it's Herculean.
It is and that's the hard part, and that's why things like school choice or dollars following kids now is so important. It does change things. It changes, it makes the parents and the students the customer again, which is what they always should have been.
Right.
I mean, I don't know how many people came to me when I was doing the school choice thing, and they're like, I've sent 5 emails and nobody responds to me. Nobody calls me back.
Listen, this COVID thing was a hall pass to laziness. And so now they've just got us blocked off. Now, I'm against the schools being locked down, and I actually have young kids in school right now. And I'm against it because they lock the parents out too. Mm-hmm. So do I think schools should be open access from all areas? No. But something has happened when they lock the doors and they put that gun-proof barrier across the office and they have all the doors locked and you have to sign in and sign out. It starts to have a little bit more of, hey, it's us versus you, and we'll give you permission to come in. Your kids are our responsibility. There's a mental thing that's happened.
Yeah.
And the teachers now don't respond as much. And I remember from before when they did, you could poke your head in any time. Hey, Mrs. Smith, can I talk to you for a minute? As annoying as that may be, there was so much accountability, they couldn't get off the rails. There's no accountability now.
Yeah, and the things that they're teaching our kids have no I mean, just there's no business learning this stuff at their ages. I don't think school, personally, I don't think school is a place that kids should be learning about sex at all. I think that is wrong, especially with, but at least until high school. I mean, I remember our sex ed class and it was very basic. Here's this, here's that, and done with it, right? But now, I mean, this push, I think, is the most criminal. I think it's criminal personally. And I asked my friends this the other day. I was like, okay, we're in a park and you find a kid and you go up and you show them a book with drawings of people having intercourse of any kind, and the kid's 5 years old, and you say, hey, come.
Appropriate, not appropriate.
Yeah. And what would happen to you if you went to a park and did that? I mean, that is criminal behavior. You'd be arrested.
Right.
But we're doing it in our schools
Right.
on a much bigger level. I mean, you see these things coming out where parents are taking pictures of their kids' assignments.
Have you seen this documentary that's just popped out called "What Is a Girl" or "What Is a Woman"?
What is a Woman? On Daily Wire, I believe, from Matt Walsh. I haven't seen it yet. We're probably going to watch it.
I heard about
tomorrow.
it yesterday,
Yeah.
and I was just getting some anecdotal, descriptions of it, and I was like, "Oh my god!" Because there's stuff going on that's bananas. And what's crazy is when you interview people doing bananas stuff, they're pie-eyed about it, and they're like, "Oh yeah, well we make sure all we're doing is hitting pause on their gender development." You're like, "Whoa, hold on a sec. What did that person just say?"
Yeah.
It was like a doctor and saying, "Oh, we're just hitting pause in their." Well, why are you doing this? Well, their parents don't want them to be oppressed by their gender development. And you're like, whoa, hold on a second. What did you just say? And they're saying it, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you can interview me. I'm on the record. Sounds good. Go ahead. Is the mic on? Okay. Yeah, no. We don't want the kids, they're gender developing." It's bananas. Bananas.
It's awful. It is the most reprehensible thing I've ever seen is the sexualization of children and this confusion. And I think it's done on purpose, personally, because
And Disney sides with it?
of course they do.
What the fuck? What? I love Disney. I want to take my kids to Disney again. And after they sided against the state of Florida and the citizens of Florida they call it the "Don't Say Gay" law. It wasn't.
No, there was not even that word in the entire bill. And it all...
That was bananas.
Well, it's a lie. It's another propaganda piece put on by the media. And the thing is that people, I hope, are starting to realize is they use the same tactics they always use. You say a lie enough and it becomes truth. I mean, it doesn't mean it becomes truth. It just means that's what people believe in.
It's the perception of truth.
It's the perception of truth. And, to this day, people come up to me. They're like, "Oh, well, don't say gay bill." I go, it doesn't say that. It has nothing to do with gay or not gay. It says no sex at all to be taught to kindergarten through third graders. You want to teach sex to third graders?
How
Are
about
you kidding me?
kindergartners? Should we be talking about sex ed with kindergartners?
We shouldn't be talking about it with any
Right.
child. This is wrong to a whole
we
nother
should
level.
make sure they know not to wipe their boogers on their headboard when they're in kindergarten.
Yeah.
These are more valuable life skills.
And the kids don't even know what you're talking about. I taught first graders I had a long-term sub position with first graders. And I'll tell you what, I love that you brought up the boogers because that's like one of the funniest things to them. They think it's hilarious and they wipe it on each other. And it's
boogers
great.
and farting and
Yeah.
body stuff.
So-
they think all that stuff.
And that's what they should do.
Right.
They're kids.
I had a conference with my junior high schoolers principal and a couple of teachers. A lot of kids' math has been suffering because they can liberal arts gloss over the humanities of school, but they can't gloss over math. And so math's been rough on the kids. I mean, literally, there were 7th graders who haven't had a full year of school since 4th grade. Right? It's 5th and 6th, completely screwed up.
Yeah.
Part of, and so they are lacking this everyday, consistent math teacher over the shoulder doing the math. Math is one of those things you can't fake.
Yeah, and they have actually brought all of their garbage into math classes as well. They've dumbed down our math classes. I mean,
What I was going to say is I sat with one of the teachers. I had 2 teachers come in, and one of them very professional, first-year teacher, hopeful, organized. She's got her dossier. Very nice gal, and I sat and talked to her, and I could tell she was in over her head. And I said, "Hey, listen, I'm sorry for you. I know you haven't had good mentorship. I know the senior cadre is gone. I know that you're hearing a lot of, you just keep doing, and call more, get involved more. Don't hold the test back because you're worried about 4th graders passing on next year's test to the 5th
Yeah.
graders. Change the test. It's okay. Move the numbers around. So I need to have the test back so I can see what he did well and what he didn't do well. And then if I've got a tutor for him or mathnasium or I'm going to help him, I know where he's got a weakness.
Yeah.
You guys can't keep the tests from us. And like, oh, okay. And I said to the principal, and she's like, oh, I didn't know they were doing that.
Okay.
And then the English teacher, blue hair, look, fat girl, blue hair, rainbow bracelet, gross. I don't want to see your fucking rainbow bracelet and your blue hair in an English class. When my English teacher, they were semi-professional
Professional, yeah.
dress. They were detail oriented and they were demanding taskmasters. They were not loose, hippie, projecting their personal views. I had no idea what my English teacher's political spectrum was.
Or who they even were married to or anything.
I
They
didn't
never
even know if
talked
they
about
were
it.
married.
Yeah.
None of that stuff. And they would never wear jeans and a rainbow bracelet and
They wouldn't even be
purple
allowed.
hair.
Yeah. They wouldn't even be allowed in.
No, the gals wore heels, for God's sake. I mean, I looked at them and I was like, oh, these are professional badass women.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. And honestly, some of them scared me. They were like serious. And they were like big on grammar. And they'd be like,
Yes.
well, they'd pinch you if you said something incorrectly.
You know, you just kind of sparked something. So when I was a teacher, it's interesting. I won't say the name of the school that I taught at, but let's just say they had a very low bar for these kids. And this goes back to the whole mental health thing. If we're kind of coming back around, I won't say circle back because I hate that term now. But
Yeah, Peppermint Patty
the
ruined
Peppermint Patty ruined that. But
I miss her now, though,
right.
because the new one is awful.
Oh,
But I don't know how you pitch this White House. They're so bad.
oh, I know. It's just one gaffe after another.
Okay, back to your school.
Okay, so, but what going back to this mental health thing, this is something that I think never gets discussed. In fact, I just thought about it. You sparked something in me
I sparked something in you?
yeah. Thank you. Anyway, so, when I got there, the kids that I was teaching were getting D's. The teacher before me, watched a lot of movies. There wasn't a lot of learning. I was a science teacher, remember? So when I got them, and I was like the teacher you were just describing, I was very professional. I demanded a lot, and for the first 2 months, I got so much. And to be honest, the behavior of the kids was awful. I used to go home and cry every night, and I made all my own curriculum. We were actually they called us a kit school. So the government gave us the garbage lesson plans, and I didn't do any of it. But anyway, it was interesting because in this mental health thing, we're asking so little of kids anymore. They don't have anything to strive for. They don't have anything to feel good about. And when you don't learn and you're not getting better, I think it also creates mental health, and it also creates even more depression and problems in these kids. Because let me tell you what happened at this 2-month mark. After constantly keeping demanding, all of a sudden
They rose.
The behavior was night and day. They would come to class, they'd be excited, they'd put their papers out, they'd be excited. What are we learning today, Miss L? And all this stuff. And it was fantastic. And I think that's part of what's happening today too. We're not demanding anything from these kids. They're not expected to do anything.
Of course it is. And so my daughter learned very early on. She's a super top performer, one of those Uber kids you could throw in a hole with books and they come out and know what's going on.
Yeah.
And I don't brag about it. I'm like, I don't give a shit how smart you are. Work your ass off. That's more important. And if you happen to be smart, well, awesome. Great things will happen. But work your ass off. The teachers that came out of the gate that she didn't like, math teachers who were ball busters, they ended up being her favorites. Right. And I always told her, I said, lean in to what's wrong. Sure. Lean into what you think's wrong. Lean in. And we're lacking that everywhere. Mm-hmm. And so kids don't actually attain anything. They're not rising. They know it. They feel the internal emotional malaise.
Yes. You're absolutely correct. That's a great way of putting it.
There's nothing worse. Imagine you ever say to a significant other, maybe somebody you're dating, how was your day at work today? Oh, I couldn't get anything done. It's fucking depressing.
It is, and it's upsetting.
Imagine school years where you don't feel like you just got anything done. And they don't know it yet because they don't have that historical data point to judge what's going on. They're just caught in the malaise. And
they don't know why.
Right. And, so I tell teachers all the time, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that. And I go, hey, listen, bullshit. They're not going to fire you. Oh, this. I go, they're not going to fire you. Be a baller. You don't need to be a billionaire to be a baller. Just be a baller. Being a baller is, you can't touch me. I will do the right thing. You can't touch me. Oh, don't do that. You could get in trouble. You can't touch me. Oh, the boss might fire you. Don't care. Do the right thing. You know,
Always do the
and
right
I tell
thing.
these teachers, I'm like, be an awesome teacher. Don't worry about the stupid, because now it's Google Classrooms and 4 different pieces of software to reach in and see what's going on. And the teachers think because they entered everything in their database that the student has the feedback. And I'm like, how many of you students are failing right now? When's the last time you called someone? We had struggling grades all year long in math with my son. And I had him in mathnasium, and I push and I get involved. Not a single call from the teacher. Not one.
Yeah, and that's a good point. That's a very good point.
So we sat down at the 8-month mark, and I said, look, you haven't called us once. This is a human thing. You putting it in Google Classroom doesn't mean shit to me, or Infinite Campus, or all these different little modules the schools buy into for all this data reporting. I go, that's good for the boss to have some data. It's not good for the teaching. And what we saw was the high-end schools, the private schools, are paper-based and textbook-based. They're not digital-based.
Good. I think this digital world takes the human aspect out of it.
Accountability.
Yeah.
So the teacher is stuck filling in all this stuff on a screen, doing all this work, instead of talking to parents.
Yeah, and it is good to get I mean, I must have been on I don't know how many phone calls when I was a teacher, and it's true, and in that
that's the job.
But it also builds relationships with your student. I had students at first, don't call my parents. I go, but I care enough to call your parents because we need to figure out something. This is not you getting in trouble. How can we fix this? I want you, and you're exactly right. And it is so sad. I'm very worried for these kids and what our future holds with them because of everything we're doing to them. I think we have given these kids we've done such a disservice to them.
It's going on really badly right now. And it's almost like we were to write a PSYOPs counterinsurgency campaign on how to collapse a country that we want to kill. It's going on right now. There is a PSYOPs counterinsurgency campaign. The question is who's doing it and where's the money coming from? And are we funding it ourselves?
I think a lot, unfortunately. I do think there's outside sources, but
there is.
Yeah.
There's a bunch.
Yeah.
And so, but we can't say it, or these venues will pull me down. And it's amazing. Well, listen, pleasure having you in. You have any grand solutions you like to throw before we jump off today?
Just everybody continue to work together. I think that's the big thing. Work together, do what you can to benefit your communities, and be brave. I mean, in the times that we're now, be brave. If it means wearing a shirt, I didn't see the shirt you were talking about earlier, but if that means wearing a shirt so you can get your message out, do that without fear. I mean, it's hard nowadays, but there are a lot of us that still want and love this country and want it to be saved. And so we just need to work together.
Well, I believe it was Socrates who said that when asked by his students, what is the most important trait of man? Is it truth? Is it justice? Is it honor? What is it? What is it, Socrates? And he says, it's bravery. And you just mentioned it. Why bravery? Why bravery? Why is it we value the soldier, the valiant soldier who comes home from war? Why is it we value the quarterback, the player who does the great play? Because without bravery and courage, there is no truth, and there is no justice, and there is no morality, and there is no culture. Bravery is the most important of all human traits, because without it, there is no space for the largesse of being right. It's just might at that point, right? It's just who's toughest. And that's no bueno. Well, appreciate you coming in and chatting with us. Thank you guys for stopping in the show. I hope you enjoy. We'll be bringing in a plethora of people from a lot of different backgrounds over this season, and I hope you guys dig it. That's a Greg Medford Show. Now, if you're here watching this, you might be catching part of this on YouTube. Go down, hit the, smash the like button or the thumb thing or whatever. I don't know what it is anymore, but just like it. And then you can go over, if you want to see these shows unedited, you can go to Rumble, Spotify, or iTunes at this point. Put in the Greg Medford Show and we pop right up. Thanks very much for coming in today. And that's it. That's a wrap. I'm out.